chances are you're facing some sort of struggle right now, whether it's a big challenge or just something small that's been on your mind for a while and you really want to make a change. So, if you're feeling stuck and wondering why you aren't moving forward, this video is for you. It's for anyone looking to create a positive change in their life but feels like something is holding them back. First, we need to recognise that change is difficult. It takes a lot of personal time and energy. So, if you're going to be putting in all this effort to make a change in your life, you need to make sure that you're heading in a direction that feels authentic and right to you. And this might seem obvious, but it's something a lot of people kind of forget. If we look at New Year's resolutions, for example, even though every single human being is unique and different, we all fall into the trap of following the crowd. We set goals like, I want to lose 5 kilograms, I want to read more books, I want to eat less rubbish. We see other people wanting these things, and then before we know it, we are wanting them as well. And that's a big reason that a lot of people fail New Year's resolutions. It's because we're going after things that don't really mean much to us. So, step one to making any positive change in life is figuring out what you specifically want, like what feels right to you, and be honest with yourself. Like, some of your goals might feel embarrassing or not what others expect from you, but just go for it, because if you want to make like a meaningful change, you need to be real about what you actually want. When we're setting goals or thinking about what we want in the future, we say things like, I wish I watched less Netflix, or I wish I went to the gym more often, or I wish I wasn't so awkward. But notice the tone there. It's all negative, and that's just not going to fill you with much motivation. Instead, we need to focus on the big, positive, aspirational things. Like the things we want to do, not just the things we want to stop doing. What are we going after? Like, what are we moving towards that actually excites us? Discovering those things will give you a nice sense of direction in life. It might also come with a little anxiety, because there's a lot of things in life that we can't control. Things like where we were born and our past experiences and our genes. The truth is, some people are just unlucky and maybe born with genes that make them more prone to feeling anxious or obesity or addiction. And part of making real change is accepting all of that, like the stuff we can't control, and moving forward anyway. And that brings us to point number two, which is focusing on what you can control. Look at all the things you can't control, appreciate them, and come to terms with them. In doing that, you're giving yourself the agency to keep moving forward in life. Focus on what you can do, not what you currently can't. Focus on making normal, steady effort over a long period of time. So, what's meaningful to you? What do you need to do to achieve that? And then what's the small daily things that you can do that get you closer to achieving that thing? For example, if you want to feel more in control of your emotions, can you commit to 3 minutes of meditation every day? Or if you want to improve your social skills, can you commit to attending 3 social events this month? What you'll find when you start with something small, like 3 minutes of meditation, you'll naturally want to do more. You'll be like, that was pretty easy. I'm going to do 5 minutes next time. Or if you attend 3 social events, you might think to yourself, that was pretty fun. I might start working on my conversation skills now. And that stuff just compounds over time. But it will only compound over time if you stick with it. And the best way to stick with it is to appreciate your growth. Like, celebrate your small wins and actually recognize your progress. This is so important. Like, you can identify the authentic, meaningful changes that you want to make in life and focus on what you can control and build some positive habits that are getting you towards that. But if you start telling yourself that you'll fail again in the future, or these habits aren't good enough, you'll lose motivation pretty quickly. Making a behaviour change or starting a new habit, like, it's hard. That's already very difficult. So don't make it more difficult by being hard on yourself, right? I've used this example in the past, but let's picture someone who's got low mood and they've decided to start going to the gym. They might tell themselves, what's the point? I'll never get fit. And then when they do manage to go once or twice, they tell themselves that it wasn't good enough. I only went for 15 minutes. Like, that's rubbish. Then a month later, they stop going to the gym completely. But imagine they celebrated those small victories. Like, going to the gym just once is a victory. And each time they go, they're building a habit, they're building strength, and they're getting more comfortable in a gym environment. There's a lot of positive stuff happening. And if they just recognize that, they'd be more likely to keep going to the gym and achieve, whatever it is they want to achieve. And this is extremely common. There's the negativity bias. Humans are just wired to focus on the bad stuff. If I asked you to name 5 things that happened to you recently, there's a good chance that most of them would be negative. Like, those negative things would pop into your head first. But luckily, we can change this. As soon as we can, we need to start building a habit of really appreciating the good parts of our lives, just to balance out our tendency to focus on the negatives. The more kind we can be to ourselves in our mind, the more self-confidence and compassion we'll have moving forward, right? We'll start believing that we can do what we need to do to achieve what we want in life. Another roadblock that we might run into is our beliefs about ourselves. When we were kids, we absorbed a lot of information about ourselves and just life in general. Transactional analysis is one way of understanding how certain patterns and experiences as kids can shape how we act and think and feel as adults. Were you constantly praised as a kid? Did your parents shout at you for certain behaviours? Was your childhood mostly happy or mostly negative? The way you were brought up can definitely still affect how you act and think as an adult today. For example, it makes complete sense to feel uncomfortable in social situations if you hold the belief that other people are scary or difficult to deal with, right? It makes sense to struggle to relax if you hold the belief that relaxing is lazy or a waste of time. Unfortunately, these beliefs can be so ingrained into our minds that they're hard to notice, right? Even for myself, right now, I've probably got a few beliefs that are affecting how I see people and the world around me, and I'm just not fully aware of them. Now, you can definitely still get what you want in life without fully investigating or working on these beliefs, but you'll always be moving forward with them in the background. It's like trying to run a race with a heavy backpack on, one that you don't even recognize you've got on. You could do it, you could finish the race. It's just going to be more difficult and take longer. The first step is becoming aware of these beliefs, because you can't change what you don't notice. And to do that, I would recommend journaling. Like, write down your thoughts, maybe start noticing some patterns. Practice some mindfulness so you can start catching the stories that you're telling yourself in the moment. And then there's therapy and coaching. Just having someone reflect back to you what you're thinking and what you're saying can make it much easier to identify the negative beliefs you have that you didn't realize you had. But it doesn't stop there, because once you're aware of these unhealthy or negative beliefs, you need to start proving that they're not true. And the best way to do that is by facing them. And I get it, it sucks. The truth is, the negative beliefs that you've picked up as a kid and your weaknesses, like, they aren't entirely your fault, but they are your problems to solve. When you can accept that unfairness, things get a lot easier. You start telling yourself, like, I don't want to be stuck like this. Yes, it's not all my fault, but I'm going to take responsibility anyway. And the more responsibility you take, the more action you will take. Every action builds up proof that these beliefs aren't facts and that they don't need to control your choices. At this point, homeostasis might creep in, right? This is your body's natural pull to keep things the same, even if the same isn't good for you. When you start proving those old beliefs wrong, you start taking more action and starting new habits, your brain might try to convince you to stop. Not because it's right, but because it's familiar and it's hard, it's uncomfortable, and even other people won't like it. By changing yourself, you're simultaneously forcing others to change too. And that's when you might start getting small comments like, when did you start caring about that sort of stuff? Or why don't you drink anymore? That resistance you feel from others and from yourself isn't proof that you're failing, it's proof that you're growing. So, at this stage in your growth journey, you've identified what's authentic and meaningful to you. You're focusing on what you can control. You're celebrating your small wins. You've maybe uncovered a few negative beliefs and you're aware of homeostasis. You're doing great and you're going after your goals. But there still seems to be a few things that are holding you back. And this is where I want you to start thinking about your motivations. When you're feeling overly mad or ashamed or embarrassed or annoyed at someone, I want you to pause. Ask yourself, what is this negative reaction trying to shield me from? What's familiar about it? People don't feel or act certain ways for no reason. The positive behaviours, they're pretty easy to notice. Someone is getting up early to go to the gym because it gives them a sense of control in their day. Or someone is working hard at their job because it gives them a sense of security and pride. But even our negative behaviours, like the ones we beat ourselves up for, they're serving some sort of purpose as well. Some people might avoid social situations or shut people out, not because they dislike people, but because it helps them feel safe from judgment or rejection. So be genuinely curious and ask yourself, what are you getting from the behaviours that are holding you back? Now, I've not really touched on relationships yet, but that's a massive part of achieving what you want in life. Depending on how you grew up and your past experiences, you'll either have a positive or negative relationship to relationships. But like everything else I've spoken about today, you can change that over time. So, what should you look for in a relationship? Now, I'm not saying that these are all musts for everyone, but having one or two of these people can be very valuable. Look for someone who really likes you, look for someone who's kind, and look for someone who you enjoy being yourself around. Now, once your relationship is going and you're helping each other achieve your goals, there's a few things you want to keep in mind. And a quick disclaimer, like, I'm not very experienced when it comes to long-term partner type relationships. These are just the things that I've came across and they feel right. So yeah, just wanted to mention that. And a lot of these insights are from John and Julie Gottman. So if you want to go deeper into this stuff, definitely check them out. Anyway, here's a few things to keep in mind when it comes to relationships. First, understand that successful couples don't fight less than other couples. They fight better. Disagreements and arguments, like, they're going to happen, guaranteed. So it's all about how you handle them in the moment. So try to avoid sitting on your words. If something is annoying you, talk about it. Get it out there and tell them how it's making you feel and try to find a solution as soon as possible. If you can build a relationship where you're great at explaining how you're feeling and your emotions and you're open with each other, like, arguments will still happen, but they'll be pretty short lived. Another huge thing is when your partner or even a friend or family member comes to you with a problem, lead with empathy instead of problem solving. Spend a few minutes validating what they're saying. Ask them how it's making them feel and let them know that if you were in their shoes, you'd probably feel the exact same way. Make them feel like you're on the same team before considering problem solving. Improving your relationships with others and being more kind in general has this nice feedback loop where it kind of teaches you to be kind to yourself. So not only are you making someone else feel good, but over time you'll start treating yourself that way too. Alright, so to recap, if you're struggling or feeling stuck in some area of life, here is your roadmap to making change. Figure out your authentic goals, even if they seem awkward or out of the norm. Focus on what you can control. Identify the small daily actions like a short workout or a few minutes of journaling that push you forward. Celebrate every small win. Those tiny wins build up over time and they're proof that you're breaking old patterns. Dig into those outdated beliefs, question them, and build proof that they're false. Push through homeostasis. Your brain loves the familiar, so expect some resistance, but recognize that the discomfort is a sign that you're growing. Examine your motivations. When you're feeling overly mad or ashamed or embarrassed, pause and ask, what is this reaction protecting me from? All positive and negative behaviours serve some sort of purpose. Keep working on your relationship skills and connect with people who support you, support your goals, and help keep you on track. Now, even if you master all of this stuff, you'll still experience struggles and do loads of stupid shit, right? But none of that will matter. What matters is you can look back on your life and be generally happy with how you lived it. You can say to yourself, whenever I got the chance to do something cool or make a positive change, I went for it. Even when I felt like I'd been dealt a bad hand, when the stuff I was struggling with wasn't entirely my fault, I still took responsibility and made the changes I wanted to make. At the end of the day, don't be too hard on yourself. If you can keep a few meaningful things going, whether it's pursuing a hobby or improving your relationships or just enjoying the small moments, that's enough. Trust that you're on the right path and just keep taking those small steps.